Hello, I'm Brian Fox. Welcome to I Hate Rock Music. And today's video is going to be about a band called Fresh Start. And they came out in 1974 with an album on Dunhill called What America Needs. And I'm kind of perplexed in a lot of ways that the record hasn't gotten much respect and collectors don't really talk about it. But it's a really interesting record. I think the cover kind of put a few people off too. And then the band dropped the start part and just became Fresh, and after some personnel changes released 3 more LPs that are a lot more pedestrian kind of funk records, pop funk. But the Fresh Start album is actually pretty cool. It's a mixed race band, 2 black guys, 2 white guys, Bill Pratt on vocals, Fred Allen on drums, Milo Martin on bass and vocals, and Paul Frank on guitar and vocals. And that's one of the reasons why I ended up picking up the album probably in about 74, 75, because Paul Frank used to be in a Detroit power trio called Head Over Heels. And so he made this transition about 3 years later in this funk rock band. And as far as funk rock bands go, they're really quite accomplished. Great musicianship. The singer's very convincing, and Paul Frank is great. And he, in fact, included one song called Right Away that was on the Head Over Heels album, and then reworked it in this new band. And considering what a great vocalist Paul Frank is, besides being a great guitar player, it's kind of surprising that he wasn't the lead vocalist on this record, although he does sing lead on Right Away, and does a lot of great background vocals with Bill Pratt. And so they got a really solid sound. And as usual, they really check all the boxes. The arrangements are really cool. Great instrumentalists. The songs are pretty catchy, and it's a solid record. And one of the things that strikes me about it the most is the fact that there's a really interesting mix of funk and then some real great hard rock riffs. So they're definitely a funk hard rock hybrid, and they're very convincing. And Paul Frank does some great guitar work on the album. He obviously progressed considerably since the Head Over Heels record, and it opens up with a song called Going Down to Get You, which really sets the tempo for the rest of the record. Most of it's pretty upbeat, and there's 3, 4, 5 tunes that really mix some great, almost heavy rock riffs with the funk, and they really lay down a groove, a very convincing groove, and it's somewhat commercial in a way, kind of in the way that maybe Rare Earth was more commercial with their funk rock. But Fresh Start is a really solid record. I'm really surprised it's gotten overlooked. It got a pretty decent push. There was a couple singles released from the album, including a promo picture sleeve single, and so Dunhill, not really known for giving huge promotional pushes for their bands, including one of their all-time big-selling groups, Steppenwolf. Um, and Dunhill, I don't think existed that much more in the 70s. So this Fresh Start record might have been one of the last records on the Dunhill label. But I find it a very convincing record. I think anybody that likes hard rock, and particularly hard rock infused with funk, will find a lot of joys on this record. Certainly puts bands like Wild Cherry, who are known for their rock funk hybrid, really puts them to shame. And it's too bad Fresh Start didn't get some more traction and maybe put out some more records. Paul Frank left after that first record, and they went off into pop funk land. So this is the only record we have by this lineup. But like I say, very interesting to see Paul Frank move from a Detroit power trio to a Detroit funk rock band. And as far as that kind of rock funk hybrid, it really is as good as it gets. And I'm still perplexed that it's completely overlooked. But like I say, it has a somewhat commerciality to some of it, and the cover with its blatant patriotism might put a few people off as far as being a collectible. But like I say, it checks all the boxes, and There's just some superlative guitar work. I'm really surprised that Paul Frank is not better known, but as far as I know, the only two records he ever did was the Fresh Start record and the Head Over Heels record. But he's definitely top notch and one of Detroit's finest. So if that intrigues you at all, check it out. I'll post it below as usual. Fresh Start, what America needs, and America needs this record. I promise you. I'm Brian Fox. Thanks for watching I Hate Rock Music.